Good morning, everybody. Today I'm at the bench tying a 1/32 crappie jig using purple pearl. Stay tuned. So, as I just mentioned, what I'm tying today is a crappie jig. It's on a 1/32 head with a number 8 hook. So it's a little bit bigger than the hook that it typically takes. But it's a really pretty jig, produces well. Very simple white head, and I'm using a purple pearl tinsel. I'll tie it two different ways, one with Marabou and one using Hackle, the Hackle fibers. But it's a really nice jig and produces well. So let's get things changed around here. So I'm going to show two ways how to tie this jig. What I'm doing is I have a 1/32 with a number 8 hook that I just put in the vise. I'm going to begin by locking on 2/0 nylon. This is just a purple good rod winding thread, and I start that in the center of the hook shank and walk it back to the point of the hook. This first way is probably the most popular, though I'll show you another way that the fibers that I like to use as a tail. And I'm not looking to use a big chunk of this. I'm just taking a small pinch, something like that, and stripping it from the quill. And measuring this out, I want it a full, from the tip of the head to the bend of the hook, plus half that distance. And on this vise is about that second mark that I have. Once I'm happy with that, I can switch my grip. Just trim this flush with my fingertips, keep my pinch tight, just like with tying bucktails. And by locking this on, I took a couple wraps towards the head and then 3 or 4 wraps over those towards the bend of the hook. Now that's stuck in place. To go with this tail, I have 2 long strands. So this is, or 3 actually, 3 long strands. This is probably 6 inches of purple crystal flash. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay those 3 right down the side of the tail. Switch my grip so I can lock this on. And then I can turn the vise so I can see this side and just take those 3 fibers, bend them to this side, and lock those in place. So these fibers, the last 3 on this side, just trim them just so they look fairly uniform, left side, right side. Now with touching wraps, I can take this nylon thread back up to the head, and I take it back to the base of this little bit of a bump that we built up, and then touching wraps back to the head. So this makes a nice even base. You can take your hard as nails or your head cement. I like to use the lacquer based head cement and just saturate those threads. Just take it back up to the head, and now that I put a drop of head cement on there, I can walk it right back up all the way to the end, right to the point of the hook. And it's ready to add the purple pearl chenille, and I strip the fibers off the end of the thread here, just locking it on, and then I can walk this all the way up to the head. And this is a fairly small piece, short piece, so I'm going to use some hackle pliers. I usually cut a piece that will do 2 or 3 jigs. And again, just left, right, left, right. This first wrap goes towards the bend of the hook on the left side or the outside of your last base wrap. And then as you bring it around, you can angle it with touching wraps between your vise and your bobbin. And then on your last wrap, as you come around, bring it to the outside of your bobbin, so when you switch hands, you can pick your bobbin up with your right hand and just lock it on. I'm going to finish this off as is. Palmering a purple feather. Looks really nice on this type of jig, but I typically go for just the clean head. Just 3 wraps of your whip finish tool, and then a snip. Super pretty jig. That the Marabou that's on this, when it gets wet, seems to come together and look a little bit like a whip, so to speak, as you're fishing it. And you just shake your rod tip just to give that jig a little bit of action, let it dance under the water. Here we go. Should get some forceps, be easier for everyone to see. Do I have a pair here? I do not. There we go. This will work. So how's that? Real pretty jig. The other way I like doing this is, again, taking a 1/32 that number 8 hook, same purple thread. Again, we're going to lock it on in the center of the hook shank and walk the thread down, touching wraps to the point of the hook. And I like to take, take some of this longer saddle hackle with these nice long fibers. I snipped off the butt end where it gets a little webby, but these longer fibers, and just like with the Marabou, line up the tips and get my pinch. Strip it from the quill. So now I have the thin fibers, just a nice small bunch. And with this, I don't want to extend it quite as long. And what I'm looking is just the length of the body past the bend of the hook. I will lock this on without trimming the butt ends. Just walk that thread just past the tip of the hook. And now that it's locked on, I can take my scissors and trim the butt ends on this. Again, I'm going to take the length of purple crystal flash. I just have 2. I'm going to wet the fibers like I'm going to thread a hook. And I can tilt my vise just a little to lay this. Lock this on the side. And without letting go, I can just put slight tension on them just so I can get them straight. I trim them to the length of the tail. And then I can just turn my vise and do the other side. Again, try to keep hold of them. I can walk my threads up to the head. And then back, just to make sure I have a nice thread base. Everything looks fairly even. You can take your head cement again, a drop or 2 on those threads. Get a fresh piece of this purple pearl. Strip some of those fibers to lock on that thread. Just walk my thread back up to the head. Again, as I pull this around to wrap it, 1 wrap to the left of my last wrap, and then angle it forward towards the head. 2, 3, 4. This 5th wrap is going to go to the outside of my bobbin. So when I switch hands, I can pick up my bobbin, lock it right into place. Ooh, what didn't happen there? Use your whip finish tool to finish this off. And the last thing is just a drop or 2 of head cement. A couple on each side. There you go. Purple pearl. And I really like using the Hackle fibers here. And again, just giving that little bit of action in the water, just brushing those fibers. But the Marabou as well, when that gets wet, it kind of comes together in a whip. It's a real pretty jig, whichever ways you tie it. So I tied up, I've been tying these, I've already tied up a whole bunch of these today. The weather outside is awful. This is just a sit inside and tie jigs day. So if you enjoyed what we did here today, go ahead and put some comments down below. Like and subscribe so you don't miss any new content. And until next time, everybody, tight lines.